Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and today we're going to be recapping today's college football games as we're going to be going over all of the ranked games from today's Saturday's college football schedule. As on September 2nd, 2023, we saw a total of 20 games that featured ranked matchups. Now, in this slate of games for Saturday, September 2nd, you saw 0 ranked teams face each other. Every ranked team face a non-ranked opponent. You will see the only ranked team versus ranked team matchup tomorrow when you will see Florida State, ranked number 8, take on LSU in Florida State. LSU's ranked number 5 in Florida, and that will be the only matchup in the top 25 ranked on ranked team. And there was I'm not gonna lie, the Colorado TCU game. I watched that game. That was a great game. But besides that, all these games, they were blowout after blowout after blowout. This was a just blowout type of day. And let's get into it. We're going to start with Michigan and East Carolina, as Michigan, with their first game without head coach Jim Harbaugh. Michigan, I'm going to be honest. I thought Michigan should have been able to take care of business more than they did today. They won 30-3. Great win for Michigan. But I feel like this is a game Michigan should win more points. I think this is a game where you should see Michigan win by more. But at the same time, it's their first. They're without their head coach. I think their offensive coordinator was also suspended. So, they're right now they got to adapt with their offense, and their offense took a minute to get going in this ball game. Let's go over some of the stats for Michigan in this game. All right, game leaders for Michigan: J.J. McCarthy threw 26 for 30 with 280 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns, and he had a really good day. How about wide receiver for Michigan, Roman Wilson, who had 3 touchdown receptions, had 6 receptions for 78 receiving yards for 3 receiving touchdowns. He had himself a great day today for Michigan. And J.J. McCarthy, quarterback, had a really good day as well. Tennessee versus Virginia. Tennessee beats Virginia 49-13. This was not a close game at all. I mean, maybe in the first half, Tennessee was going in halftime up 21-3, but after that, this game was never close. Quarterback for Tennessee, Joe Milton III, had a really solid day, throwing 21 for 30 with 201 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. And Tennessee gets the win 49-13 over Virginia. How about the game of the day? TCU versus Colorado. Colorado and Deion Sanders, primetime's first game as the Colorado Buffaloes head coach, faces off against the TCU Horned Frogs, who were in the national championship last year against Georgia, did lose 65-7, and Colorado goes into Fort Worth and upsets TCU 45-42. Quarterback Deion Sanders' son, Shadar Sanders, was absolutely unbelievable in this ball game with 38 going 38 for 47 with 510 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns with 0 interceptions. And then also Edwards, one of their running backs / wide receivers, Dylan Edwards, had a crazy game with a total of 4 touchdowns, 5 receptions, and 135 receiving yards for 3 receiving touchdowns, and even 1 rushing touchdown, while Travis Hunter, who is one of I've never seen someone so talented as him, had 1 interception on defense and was just playing some really good defense as their corner, and then had 11 receptions for 119 receiving yards. And also, not only that, but Colorado had 4 receivers with over 115 receiving yards. 4 players. What a day for Colorado. TCU, with this loss, they'll probably will not be ranked after the new top 25 comes out next week. Should be Tuesday. And I really could see Colorado being, getting into the new top 25. How about Oklahoma? They had themselves a really good day, winning 73-0 in this ball game against Arkansas State. Oklahoma, what a game! You saw quarterback for Oklahoma, Well, I think they played multiple quarterbacks today, of course, because I mean they were just killing them. But they had a lot of touchdown runs as well. But Dylan Gabriel, their quarterback, threw 19 for 22 with 308 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. And he had a really good day. And Oklahoma shuts out Arkansas State 73-0. And in Oklahoma, I haven't been going over the rankings. So Michigan's ranked number 2, Tennessee's ranked number 12, TCU's ranked number 17, Oklahoma's ranked number 20. Then ranked number 25, Iowa plays Utah State, and Iowa wins 24-14. Quarterback Cade McNamara had a solid day, 17 for 30 with 191 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns, while you saw Caleb Johnson, running back, have a really solid day with 19 carries, 63 rushing yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. Iowa had a solid day today as well. The fun fact here, you saw the TCU and Colorado game. That was a 3-point. That was you saw, TCU lose by 3. After that game, the Iowa-Utah State game was the closest game, with Iowa winning by a total of 10 points. How about another blowout? Ranked number 22, Ole Miss beats Mercer 73-7. Quarterback Jackson Dart has himself a really good day for Ole Miss with 18 for 23, 334 passing yards with 4 passing touchdowns, and all 4 passing touchdowns were to the same player. Then running back Jenkins, he had a really good day with 13 carries, 60 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. And that is Quinshon Jenkins. And then you saw Trey Harris. I mean, how about what a day for Trey Harris, wide receiver. He had 6 receptions for 133 receiving yards and 4 receiving touchdowns for Ole Miss today. This is multiple players that had 4 receiving touchdowns today, and some had 3 as well. He had a really good game today for ranked 22 Ole Miss. And then how about Oregon with a just crushing defeat against Portland State, 81-7. This was the most points anybody scored today. All right, game leaders, Bo Nix, quarterback, threw 23 for 27, 287 passing yards, and 3 passing touchdowns, while Irving, running back, had 2 touchdowns. That is, Irving is he's a running back, of course, but I couldn't find his first name. He had 4 carries, 120 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. And then Franklin, wide receiver, had 7 receptions for 106 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. Then Ohio State had a close victory against Indiana. Ohio State's ranked number 3, and they beat Indiana 23-3. New quarterback for Ohio State, McCord, and this is a decent debut for Ohio State. Threw 0 touchdown passes and threw an interception, threw 20 for 33 and 239 passing yards, and only had 23 points on the board. I don't know. Ohio State should be good this year, but I don't know if they'll be the same team this upcoming season without quarterback C.J. Stroud and wide receiver Jackson Smith-Jigba. And then number 10, Washington beats Boise State 56-19. This is a big win for Washington today. Quarterback Penix Jr. had a really, really good day with 5 passing touchdowns and 450 passing yards. And then wide receiver Udzin had 7 receptions for 132 receiving yards and 1 receiving touchdown. And then how about the Texas Longhorns, my favorite team, beating the Rice Owls 37-10. Texas is ranked number 11. Texas had a really good day. Quinn Ewers, quarterback, threw 19 for 30 with 260 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns, while Jaden Blue had 10 carries for 55 rushing yards, and Xavier Worthy had 7 receptions for 90 receiving yards. And I don't want to go over a lot of stats for Rice, but former Georgia Bulldogs quarterback JT Daniels, who is the quarterback for Rice, threw one touchdown pass with 150 passing yards and 2 interceptions thrown to the Texas defense. Notre Dame and their quarterback Sam Hartman had back-to-back great games today. Sam Hartman had a good day. Passing yards a little bit low, but threw 2 touchdown passes. 14 for 17, 195 passing yards, and 2 passing touchdowns. But at the same time, as Northern Dame wins 56-3 against Tennessee State, this was a good win for Northern Dame, but Sam Hartman, didn't play at all in the second half. So those were, he threw almost 200 passing yards, and he only played the first half. Sam Hartman has had his first 2 good games of the season, and number 13 Notre Dame is able to beat Tennessee State. Then Wisconsin beats Buffalo 38-17, where you see quarterback Tanner Motorakai have a solid game for Wisconsin. It wasn't great. 24 for 31, 190 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown with 2 interceptions. But you wouldn't see him play the whole game, and they had a lot of touchdown runs as well. Running back Ches Mulasai had 13 carries for 157 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns for Wisconsin. And number 19, Wisconsin had a really good game against Buffalo, 38-17. How about the reigning champions, Georgia Bulldogs beat UT Martin 48-7 in this bowl game. Brock Bowers had a couple touchdowns, had a 3-yard touchdown run. Didn't have any touchdown receptions, only had a 3-yard touchdown run. New quarterback Beck had a solid game. Carson Beck threw 21 for 31 with 295 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown. And Brock Bowers had a really good game with 5 receptions for 77 receiving yards for Georgia to win against UT Martin 48-7. Number 1 Georgia and national champions from last year get the win. How about another shutout though and another blowout? Kansas State beats Southeast Missouri 45-0. Quarterback Will Howard has a really good day with an 18 for 26 day, 297 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 1 interception, while wide receiver Garcia II has 5 receptions for 119 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. And then their running back Giddens had 15 carries for 130 rushing yards. Great day for Kansas State. Number 16 Kansas State against Southeast Missouri. Texas A&M beats the crap out of New Mexico 52-10 in the opening game for the Aggies. A&M, they pretty much had control of this game the whole game. Their quarterback Wigman had a really solid day with 5 passing touchdowns, 18 for 23, 236 passing yards, and 5 passing touchdowns. Their running back Daniels had 51 rushing yards, and their wide receiver Stewart had 8 receptions for 115 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns for number 23, Texas A&M. How about Alabama? A new fresh start for Alabama. Lost some players to the draft this year. Bryce Young, first overall pick. Will Anderson Jr., 3rd overall pick. Also a key linebacker, Henry To'oTo'o, to the Texans in the 4th round. And some other players, Jamar Gibbs, the running back, in the 1st round. And, other players in the draft. They've lost a lot of good players to their, to last year's NFL draft. And their new quarterback, Milroe, had a solid debut for Alabama. Jalen Milroe threw 13 for 18 with 194 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns for Alabama today. But he only played he played a little bit of the second half. Played for like half the second quarter, and then they put in their backup quarterback, and he threw 195 passing yards with 3 passing touchdowns. But not only that, but Milroe also led them in rushing yards as well with 48 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. So in his debut as the quarterback for Alabama, Jalen Milroe had a total of 5 touchdowns in the air and rushing. And then their leader in receiving yards was Bond, and that is, Bond is, his first name, it's not popping up. Isaiah Bond had 5 receptions for 76 receiving yards and 1 receiving touchdown for Alabama today. Number 4, Alabama, in their first game without Bryce Young, Jamar Gibbs, and Will Anderson Jr., all first-round picks, win against Middle Tennessee 56-7. Number 7, Penn State beats West Virginia 38-15 in the ball game today. Penn State had a really good game. Drew Drew Aller had a really good game for Penn State, going 21 for 29 with 325 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. Running back Singleton had 13 carries for 70 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. Wide receiver Lambert Smith had 4 receptions for 123 receiving yards and two receiving touchdowns. And you saw Penn State have a really good day, and number 7 Penn State beats West Virginia. Then the two Carolinas faced off. UNC North Carolina faces off against South Carolina. North Carolina is ranked number 21, and they get a little bit of a close win. They won by 14, 31-17. You saw, Rattler had a solid game, actually more than a solid game, 30 for 39 for 353 passing yards for South Carolina. But how about the quarterback? For North Carolina, Drake May, who's everybody loves this kid. He's going to be a great player. He's projected to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft next year. He threw 24 for 32 today with 270 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And then also leader in rushing yards was Brooks for UNC with 15 carries, 103 rushing yards, and then leader in receiving yards for in the game was actually for South Carolina, and it was Leggett with 9 receptions for 178 receiving yards. And then for UNC, it was Paysar with 7 receptions for 66 receiving yards and 1 receiving touchdown. And then the last ranked matchup was Tulane against South Alabama, where you saw Tulane and Matt Pratt, quarterback, beat the crap out of South Alabama 37-17. Pratt threw 14 for 15 with 294 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns. Hughes, their running back, had 8 carries for 41 rushing yards and 3 receptions for Jackson with 106 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns for Tulane. Tulane, ranked number 24, had a really good game against South Alabama today. So that is it for all the ranked matchups. We have some ranked matchups tomorrow. There is Florida State versus LSU, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, and then San Diego State, ranked number 18, matches up against San Jose State, who's non-ranked. And then Monday, number 5, Clemson faces off against unranked Duke. So those are the matchups for today's college football schedule with ranked matchups. And you guys let me know your thoughts on today's games. There was not a lot of close games. The best game by far was the Colorado TCU game. And then besides that, the closest matchups you had were Iowa and Utah State, where Iowa beat them 24-14, and then North Carolina beating South Carolina 31-17. Those were the closest games today. So you had the really good nail biter between TCU and Colorado. And then after that, there were really no close games. It was all blowouts in today's college football week 1 games on Saturday. Maybe tomorrow's games will be closer. I'm thinking Florida State and LSU game will be really closer with that top 10 matchup in this week 1 matchup between LSU and Florida State. And then I'm also thinking maybe that San Diego State, San Jose State might be a little bit of a close game. I think it won't be that close of a game. I think San Diego State will win, but I think it's going to be closer than anything you saw today. I'm thinking San Diego State will win by like 10 to 12 points. And then I think maybe the Duke-Clemson game has a chance to be a little bit of a close game as well. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the 2 games for tomorrow. We'll see what happens for the Monday night game between Clemson and Duke. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on today's games, and peace out.